congratulate and also thank you the organizers, Nagendra and his team. Wonderful event today they organized, because today this is a kind of event which we have to send a message to the future generations. Protection, preservation and conservation of environment is not only responsibility of the present generation, but we have to keep this environment alive and we have to give it to future generation. That's why I want to congratulate Nagendra and his team. I want to thank because he invited me to share some of my thoughts with you all. Friends, with sustainable development. I'll come to that. Mukhyenga ee roju ikkada andaru teachers, respectable faculty members, students from across maybe Telangana, various colleges. Since I'm a chairman, I want to thank because you are all, I don't call you as a students, you are youth, you are going to take part. One of the important message here is slogan is Rising Telangana 2047 or Vikasit Bharat 2047. So next 22 years, you as a youth, you know that the earlier speaker spoke about India. Though population is a liability most of the time, I agree with Jayaprakash Narayan sir, but I can tell you population is a liability. India's population is a liability because 65% of the population is below 35 years age. 50% of the population is 25 years age, where you all come into that. That's why I think you have a greater responsibility to shape not only the country, but you are going to shape the future of world. That's why I think you are very important for this kind of events. Yes, sustainable development and environment part of that. So where to start? I am a teacher. Basically, as a law professor, I can speak few minutes because lot of students I can find you. If we have to have any discussion on environment ecosystem as a whole, where to start? There is a one Latin maxim what we call sic utere uto at alienum non leaders. What do you mean by that? That means that you use resources not harming others. Friends, this is the philosophy of environmental jurisprudence, environmental law, environmental science. You use resources but not harming others. This is the starting point for any discussion on environment. Of course, today we know that environment knows no boundaries, whether it is a marine pollution, air pollution, outer space pollution, or ozone depletion, greenhouse gases. All today 21st century, if you ask me what is the challenge humanity is going to face, is the protection, preservation of environment. Keeping this ecosystem alive is the biggest challenge. That's why I always say that ecological danger is more than socio-economic political dangers of which we are confronted. That's why I think we all have to take pledge to protect environment. So sustainability, of course, environment as a whole, many problems are there. Today, sustainable development is one of the important things. That's why United Nations passed a resolution way back in 2015 to achieve sustainable development goals of 17 sustainable development goals, including education, environment, employability, everything. So what is a sustainable development? Today, yes, we are giving slogans talking about sustainable. That development, that means the needs of present generation without compromising the ability of future generations. So that is what we have to do, activities keeping in view of future generation. Sustainable development is not new to the humanity. Sustainable development was there. Just now I said use resources not harming others, go to any civilizations which we have. But last maybe 40-50 years, the kind of environmental degradation which is happening, that's why United Nations, there is one organization called United Nations Environment Program, which is the organization taking care of the global environment movement, part of the United Nations system. So environment, sustainable development was part, but it was earlier countries practiced customary principle, but today most of the, when we say as a chairman higher education council, I know that today environment education is part of your system. Though we have a non-credit course, we are planning to have this environmental education across not only for colleges, but we have to include this in the schooling system, because that is what, so we are working in that direction. So environment, whether it's whether it is a Stockholm Conference 1972, Rio Conference 1992, Johannesburg Declaration 2002, all these are all lot of international environmental instruments which are obligating member states. If I say member states, today environment is protected by United Nations Environment Program, which is consisting of almost all the nations of the globe, 193 member countries part of United Nations, which is trying to protect environment. And of course, we have international treaties, countries are parties to that international treaties. And we in India, we have a constitutional mandate. If you go to, constitution is important, I always say, because I want to tell you two things. Since respected faculty members are there, institutions are there, sitting, leaders of the education here. Two things. Ignorance of law is no excuse. You can't say, I'm a BTech student, why should I follow law? No, ignorance of law is no excuse. Other one is, ignorance of constitution is no excuse, because it is the basic law of the land, important law of the land. All laws comes from, originates from the constitution. So you as a citizen, we as a citizen have a responsibility to know about constitution. Once we know our constitution, we know what kind of rights we have, what kind of duties we have to perform towards society. That's why, friends, today, being this basic law, it has a mandating that protection of environment, Article 48, Article 51, all these, there are a lot of, environmental instruments, not only constitution, we have a Water Act, Air Act, Environment Protection Act, and all. Finally, I want to tell you that, judiciary, Indian judiciary is contributing a lot to the protection of environment through public interest litigation, social interest litigation. All these things are part of environmental jurisprudence, part of environmental movement. I think again, I'm coming back to the youth. So you are going to play an important role in this initiative. That's why I think you are going to play important role. Next 22 years, again coming back to the Vikasit Bharat. Next coming back to the Rising Telangana 2047. Why these 22 years are going to be very important for all of us, more particularly you, because we are aiming for, we are aspiring for, we are looking towards a transformed India, transformation from developing to developed country, from third world country to third largest economy, from importer economy to exporter. That's why I think next 22 years or 20 plus years, you are going to play a role. And country, lastly I want to say that today, friends, there is no hesitation in saying that globe is eyeing on India, viewing on India, looking towards India. They are going to depend on us. Being a youth country, I think we have a greater responsibility to supply human resource to the global society. I think you are going to be part of that, where education is going to play an important role. That's why I think once again, thank you one and all.